Season 5, Episode 1 of Brackets, Bubbles, and Bid Stealers. That felt different. I am Sam Fetterman. That is Jonathan Litzkin. Same two hosts, same everything, except for the season. New season of basketball will be starting fairly soon. The WNBA season, that is, but new season of college basketball is still a ways away, but we've all turned our attention over here at Brackets, Bubbles, and Bid Stealers from 2023-24 to 2024-25 because the portal and the offseason and the coaching carousel moves so fast.
It does. I mean, this is a big weekend for visits for the portal. You got a ton of kids just all over the place visiting schools. My friend saw Mizzou hosting a kid earlier on a visit and could not tell me who it was. He didn't know who it was.
Okay, I was going to say for confidentiality or that.
No. He has nothing to do with the basketball program. He was in the student center and saw Kyle Smith-Peters walking through there with a recruit and could not tell me who it was. Said the kid was decently tall, probably like 6'7" to 6.
I mean, decently tall could mean 6'4".
He said 6'7".
So again, decently tall could mean 6'4".
Because we kind of ruled out that it wasn't a guard, and then it wasn't Taurus Reed. So
Taurus Reed's at UConn.
Yeah. So I mean,
I'm pretty sure Mizzou has a visit. Like, it's not Warwick. Yeah,
he is visiting this weekend. I think, but I don't think it was him.
He's visiting, and I think there's one other visitor. I don't know who though.
This is. Yeah, I couldn't figure it out.
Regardless, we go back to, I think, what the biggest story is in college basketball right now: the Florida A&M coaching search. Okay.
Have they still not hired a coach?
Nope, they still have not hired a coach.
Oh my God, man.
Anyway, let's talk about the biggest story in the sport of basketball at the moment. Mark Pope is the new head coach at the University of Kentucky.
Mm-hmm.
Fairly surprising considering the way we thought this search was going to go. Given that the names that had been floated around, Dan Hurley, Scott Drew, not surprised that those guys didn't leave, but I didn't think that they would not hire one of Hurley, Drew, Billy Donovan, and then go straight to Pope. Although that's maybe an oversight on my end for not really knowing much about Mark Pope as a Kentucky legend.
Like, it did feel a little that they pivoted very quickly. Like, you swung for the fences. That was very public. You went with, contacted Hurley, contacted Drew. It didn't sound like Donovan had ever officially been contacted. His name was kind of just out there.
Yeah, and it was out there for good reason. Like, if the NBA season were a week shorter, they probably contact him.
Yeah,
but they didn't.
No, they did not. I feel like if Kentucky had taken a little more time, and I get that it's hard with the portal and stuff like that, but I feel like there were other names out there that I definitely would have reached out to before I went right to Mark Pope.
Yeah.
I don't know if you feel the same way, but it just did feel rushed.
I mean, I probably would have gone to TJ Otzelberger or Sean Miller.
I would have gone to TJ Otzelberger before I went to Scott Drew, if I'm being honest.
No, I don't agree with that. I'm pretty sure Otzelberger, though, has a crazy buyout. I think he's got a big time buyout, so that makes sense as to why they weren't going for him. Sean Miller has a little bit of baggage, comparably speaking. Obviously, not a ton of baggage, but
yeah,
I mean Xavier kind of took the baggage, and he had baggage when he was hired at Xavier. I think that he's now a job removed from the baggage.
Yeah, I don't think what he did.
I'm not surprised that Shaheen Holloway didn't get a call, but like, I think he's definitely. You could have argued that you get him before Pope, but it makes sense given Pope's history with the program, and he's not that much worse of a coach than Holloway, I don't think. And I honestly think he fits Kentucky better. You don't want I don't think Kentucky wanted a guy who's going to play like defensive, like grinded out type games. I think that they felt there's a ceiling to that, and that's maybe why they didn't go after Otzelberger or Holloway, and they went straight to Pope.
Yeah, it's just it's interesting.
And for the record, it's not a bad hire.
No, I don't think Mark Pope's a bad basketball coach. It just feels a little weird that like he's the Kentucky basketball coach.
Yeah, I mean, I think that it's underwhelming, but he'll do well there. You give him the resources, and he'll probably have Ali Khalifa come with him to help orchestrate that offense in year one. You're not going to find an Ali Khalifa every year, but you're also not going to have a top 10 offense in the country every year.
Can we talk about the terrible discourse around Ali Khalifa right now?
Yeah, apparently he's bad because he played bad when he was injured.
Against Duquesne.
Yeah, and that was always a bad matchup for him with how well Dixon can guard.
He was so good all year. Like one of the maybe the best big man passer in the country.
Maybe not just the best big man passer in the country. One of the best big man passers I've seen in college basketball in a very long time.
Mm-hmm. Like he is so good, and it's actually ridiculous.
Do you want to know how many times? You want to know how many times this year he had more than 2 turnovers in a game?
How many times he had more than 2 turnovers in a game?
Yeah, let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 times all year.
And his usage was really high, wasn't it?
No, his usage was like 20%.
For a guy that played 41% of the minutes, that's like,
well, it's 20% during those minutes.
Yes, you're right.
But like it honestly felt like his usage was higher because it's not just that he had so many assists. He had so many hockey assists where he would find a cutter and then the cutter would find a shooter, or he would find a shooter and a shooter would find a cutter, or he would come to the top of the key, slip, and they would find a shooter. He's the linchpin in that offense. And obviously he's a 40 to 50% of the minutes type guy. He was only a 60% of the minutes type guy at Charlotte.
Mm-hmm.
So like this is not somebody that you're playing 30 minutes a game ever.
No.
But they'll find the Fos Traore type that can play the 5 physically, and obviously Traore, they'll find a more prototypical version of that, I would think.
I'm very interested to see how this roster gets constructed.
Who do you think would be a good fit to be the second center?
I mean, he's not in the portal, but doesn't Traore still have more eligibility left?
No, I don't think that would be a good fit though. Like I think you can I know it worked this year, but like he's 6'6".
Just kind of looking through some names here.
Yeah, I'm looking through the portal right now and trying to think who it could be.
RJ Godfrey from Clemson might not be a bad look.
Yeah, maybe.
Like obviously it's Kentucky. You can probably do better than that.
Yeah,
in in terms of system fits, I don't think that would be bad.
Yeah, I'm trying to think who could they find on here who's like a really good defender as well.
Yeah, I'm just kind of scrolling through and like seeing what they could do here.
Let's see. I'm just looking through some names on our portal list.
There are just not that many like.
Yeah, no, and maybe, and also we probably don't know. We you know, I would have been interested to see Ivasic.
Mm-hmm.
Do we add it to the counter now?
I thought we were done with the counters.
Or do we do new count? Or yeah, we're done with the counters.
Like at one point they were in on Cliff Amarui.
But was that Amori?
Amori. Is the other one Amarui?
No, they're all Amori.
Okay, I'm just an idiot then.
He's been in college for 11 years and you don't know how to say his name.
Easy there. They were in on him though, but obviously that was Cal.
I mean, a name that I would think about, I mean, he's obviously probably not going to end up there as Terrace Reed. Just like big physical guy that can kind of be like a 7-foot trailer, eh?
Yeah, I don't think he's ending up there.
No, he's not. But like that's the idea that I was thinking.
Yeah.
But that's kind of the thought process. They'll have a lot of gets in the portal. I'm not worried, and they could lure somebody out. They could lure somebody from any program. Basically, any program. They could probably lure somebody out into the portal and say, "Hey, you want to play at Kentucky? We'll give you this much money."
Yeah. By the way, Micah Peavy committed, right?
To Georgetown, yes.
Okay, I was just making sure before I put that in.
Yeah, like, do you think Kentucky goes after Adu?
Ooh, that would like he's not super physical, but like.
But he's really good.
Owaka would do a pretty damn good job at mirroring what Traore did. He's small.
I think you want like a plus mold of that. Like you want a more well-rounded skill set than
Adu and Khalifa would like pretty easily be one of the best front courts in the country.
Oh, absolutely.
Like there are some things that like Jonas gets criticized for, but he is very good.
But like it's kind of hard to it's hard to think of like big men that complement and kind of give you the opposite of Khalifa, but also give you like great size and all of that. Because I mean, most of the like really athletic type bigs like aren't your 7-footers.
Correct.
But I think Pope's going to be a good coach at Kentucky. Like he's probably a top 30-ish coach in the country.
I don't know about that.
I mean, I look at the way that he's had 3 top 20 teams in KenPom at BYU in 5 years. Like he's recruiting kids that have to go on half the kids he recruits have to go on 2-year missions. His best recruit ever at BYU didn't even get to see the floor.
Yeah, he has not played for BYU yet
because he went on a 2-year mission.
Colin Chandler, he's good.
Yeah, and I wonder if he ends up at. Honestly, if you do the 2-year mission and then leave BYU, like
what's the point?
A waste of 2 years.
What's the point?
Yeah. I think
Colin Chandler,
like Mason Falslev did a 2-year mission.
Who did?
Mason Falslev did a 2-year mission.
Okay.
He was actually class of 2020, did a 2-year mission, and then got hurt.
Yeah, I mean
I think he was 3 years removed, and then he's obviously going back to Utah State after this year.
It's like one of the reasons. That's like one of the reasons that like BYU is like just like throws out a bunch of like 23-year-olds every year, regardless of like the COVID year.
They had the oldest player in the country this year, Spencer Johnson.
BYU was old before it was cool to get old.
Yeah. BYU is like moving BYU to the Big 12. That's a super difficult job.
Mm-hmm.
And he kind of took a very similar team to what he had the year before, but like made some key tweaks, adding Khalifa in.
Yeah.
And like just leaning into the extreme strategy.
Yeah, I mean, like they were playing guys who like didn't really fit the system that they ran.
Well, I think that what they kind of did was Mark Pope, when they made the move to the Big 12, he said, we have to, like, we're not going to be able to like have more talent than most Big 12 teams. We need to recruit to an identity and like train and like play to an identity. And he finds a guy like an Ali Khalifa, and then you get and then I mean you get improvements from so many different players.
It's also like they started using the right players more, and like Rudy Williams and Gideon George weren't good shooters.
Yeah, like they basically said, look, we're gonna say no to those types of guards that have those types of skill sets, and we're just gonna go with a system that's gonna accentuate moving the ball quickly and all of that. And it worked. They finished. Look, I thought they were computer trickers all year. They went 10-8 in the Big 12. They won at Allen Fieldhouse. They easily could have gone 7-11 in the Big 12. They easily could have lost that game against UCF when they won by 2. They easily could have lost against Kansas if Kansas made their free throws. But it doesn't matter. Like they went 10-8, made the NCAA tournament as a 6 seed, 3 NCAA bids, essentially. In
they would have been around a 5 if in 2020.
Yeah, and they were playing really good basketball too going into that tournament.
They lost in the WCC semis, but they had beaten Gonzaga like the week before that.
Yeah, and like whatever. Mark Pope is a Kentucky guy. He's not from Kentucky, but he played at Kentucky. He'll work out if they buy in to what they want to do. And I also don't think he's going to like just say, all right, we're going to go all out 1,000,000 threes. Like they'll shoot a lot of threes, but I don't think it's going to be the exact same thing they did at BYU this past year.
Yeah, there's more room for like having athletic upside at Kentucky because of the resources you have. Like you can find system guys, but there's going to be a level of
talent. The system.
There's going to be a level of talent that they have to get to that like still keeps them as like, oh, we're Kentucky, we have the best players.
Yeah, and they still need to do that. Like they still need to recruit really well. Now, do they need to bring in 3 5-stars every year? No. No program needs to bring in 3 5-stars every year. Kentucky won't be the same Kentucky that we thought we think, but it hasn't been the same Kentucky. Kentucky under Cal, the first however many years, 4-7-1, 55, 13-1, 6-4, 17-8.
55. What a random fucking year that was.
And then since then, 29, 49, 6, 27-23.
Mm-hmm.
They are still the bluest. Like they're the bluest. Like them, Duke, Carolina, Kansas, UConn. Like those are the blue bloods. Like,
I think Kentucky is the biggest brand in the sport.
I'd say Duke is probably the biggest brand in the sport.
Maybe biggest brand isn't the right.
Kentucky has like the biggest, like has probably like
They have such a large following.
Yeah, like but Duke, like people hate Duke more than they hate
Duke is a bigger brand, but I think Kentucky's a bigger program. If that makes any sense.
Yeah, I get that. Does it really matter? No. Kentucky, I'm not sure that they'll be like if what would you consider a success for Kentucky under Mark Pope for say the next 5 years?
Next 5 years?
Yeah, assume he gets 5 years. Because that's his contract, right?
Give me a regular season SEC title and a Final Four.
Yeah, I say like if they don't make the Final Four, but like they make 4 Sweet 16s,
Sure,
that,
yeah, like that's fine.
Like I think you have to have like make the tournament every year, unless it's like you can afford one miss as long as it's not like a terrible season.
I honestly just think it's more important that like right away or at least early they're able to establish the legitimate identity for the program and also like win a couple tournament games in the first couple years.
Yeah, no, I think for sure like for most programs, I would say yes, like worry about establishing the identity, getting the kids into the system that you know will work. At basically every other school, I would say that. But Kentucky moved on from a Hall of Fame coach basically because they weren't winning tournament games.
Mm-hmm.
They got to win tournament games.
No, and that's like the narrative coming in around Mark Pope is he has 0 NCAA tournament wins.
So he was also coaching at BYU in Utah Valley.
That's true, which is why I think bringing
and also,
that up,
they would have won a game in 2020.
Which is why we brought this up at minute 24 of the show and not minute 1, because it doesn't bother us that much. Like
I do think it is ironic the way that Kentucky fans were talking about Scott Drew.
Yeah.
Saying, oh, I don't want Scott Drew because he only has 1 championship and Danny Hurley has 2 and Billy Donovan has 2 and Scott Drew's had all these years where he's gone out early. Like, who are you? Like, that is basically saying to the AD, like, if Hurley doesn't want the job, you can't make a good hire.
Mm-hmm.
Because the only other national championship coaches in the sport right now, there's
only 5.
Yeah, there's 5 active national champion coaches. No, there's more than 5. Cal, Self, Hurley, Drew,
not including Cal because you
Bennett,
just fired him.
Izzo.
Hold on, Hurley, Drew, Self, Bennett,
Izzo. I think there's one other one.
Hold on.
Oh, Rick.
Yes.
Rick Pitino, obviously. Yeah. And then like Billy Donovan's coaching in the NBA. Jay Wright
is in TV.
Jay Wright will never coach basketball again.
No, he won't.
Like
Roy and Coach K are retired.
Yeah, Coach K retired. At that point, hey, Steve Fisher won a national championship.
Yeah, like 20 years before I was born.
No, not 20 years before you were born.
What, it was like, was it 15?
89.
12 years before I was born.
And that was that was also like not his team. Like he was the interim coach during the tournament. But yeah, regardless. Yeah, they could have hired a coach with a better resume than Pope. They absolutely could have. But at the end of the day, I don't think Kentucky fans are going. They're already liking it, by the way.
Well, yeah, we knew they would do this.
Yeah. So I was about to say they convinced themselves Cal's a great coach every year.
Most bipolar fan base in sports.
No, every fan base is like that. Every big fan base does this.
Dude, they're different. They're undeniably different.
Well, I mean, if Duke hired Tommy Amaker instead of Shire, would people would have been able
disaster.
What do you say? People would have convinced themselves within 3 days that it's a great hire, though.
Tommy Amaker has been successful in one aspect of his career, and it was when he was at a school where the resources were like way higher than anyone else in the league.
Yeah,
like as soon as the Ivy League leveled the playing field in terms of resources, he wasn't winning again.
Yeah, as soon as like Princeton and Yale realized, wait, we actually have to put money into this stuff, he wasn't winning anymore.
Yep.
But like Duke fans would have spun a narrative within 3 days. Like I truly believe that. Now that obviously would have been a significantly worse hire than Mark Pope. But it was just the first thing that came to mind. Like, is there another Duke guy out there that would have been a better decision? Obviously, like Paulus, but like,
I mean, the other Duke alums that we're coaching are like Paulus, Johnny Dawkins, Nate James.
Hey, Johnny Dawkins has been to the tournament.
Nate James was at Austin Peay at the time, and then like Capel at Pitt.
Hey, Johnny Dawkins has more tournament wins than Mark Pope.
One? No, he has like 3.
Yeah, he took Stanford to the Sweet 16.
He had 2 at Stanford and 1 at UCF.
Yep.
And nearly 2 at UCF. He almost beat Coach K.
Yeah.
Dude, the narratives about Johnny Dawkins being the next Duke coach after that game were so funny.
Yeah, regardless. Back to the point at hand. We've spent 30 minutes talking about one move.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot more that happened in college basketball since then. We haven't even talked about John Calipari in Arkansas.
No, we haven't. I haven't even touched on it.
Did you see the video of him calling the Hogs?
Yeah. Hopefully he doesn't
It takes some getting used to.
Hopefully a video doesn't surface on Twitter in October of him like wearing like a tracksuit in the locker room.
John Calipari took the Kentucky job in 2009. The first college basketball games that I watched were 2008, 2009. But like I didn't actually know like anything outside.
Yeah, no, I remember watching as early as like
I didn't know anything outside of like UConn and a little bit of like, hey, I think I knew who Boeheim was. I knew who K was.
Yeah,
I knew.
I have memories of watching Duke games as early as like 2008.
But the only Kentucky coach I've ever known is John Calipari.
Yes.
And John Calipari has known a lot of other things than being the Kentucky coach.
Pitt assistant coach.
Yes. New Jersey Nets head coach.
Yes.
But at the end of the day, John Calipari took UMass to the number 1 ranking in the country in the Final Four.
Mm-hmm.
He took Memphis to the number 1 ranking in the country in the Final Four. He took Kentucky to a national championship and won. The guy, like, program builder over the years, he's done it at all 3 places. Like, just now he left Kentucky like for a soft landing, but he had a successful tenure at Kentucky, and he left UMass and Memphis in a much better state than he found them.
Yeah, he made Memphis and UMass better places for basketball.
He went from UMass to the NBA like immediately.
Mm-hmm. Can you imagine like a couple years of like Drew Valentine was like an NBA candidate?
Drew Valentine might be the next Michigan State coach. So
that wasn't a slight at Drew Valentine. It's just I was just showing.
Find different angle there. Well, Brad Stevens went from Butler to the NBA directly.
That's true. Maybe that's what we need to do. We need to stop looking for these high major coaches to go up to the NBA, mid-major coaches to the NBA.
Yeah, I'm waiting for Adam Fisher. I'm waiting for Adam Fisher to the NBA.
Mike Magpie, you are a Los Angeles Laker.
Drew Joyce, you are an LA Laker.
Jesus Christ.
Regardless, Calipari. The guy has something about him that like no other college coach has. In college basketball
he gets the people talking.
Yes, exactly. In college basketball today, the big name coaches like that people outside of college basketball fans know about are Cal and Pitino.
Yeah.
Like people know about Self, but like Self doesn't like bring up any reactions from people that don't follow college basketball. Same with Izzo. The people, the guys that people know, and maybe it's because they were both NBA coaches, are Cal and Pitino. Like people knew K, and he was never an NBA coach. But
Roy was never an NBA coach either, right?
No, he was the Kansas coach for a while too.
That I obviously know.
Yeah. Coach Cal has won 855 games. He was inducted into the Basketball Hall of Fame at age 56 as a coach. That's absurd. He's 65, so what? Probably coaches out his contract at Arkansas, and then...
Did he get a 5-year deal?
Probably. Let's see, what did he get? 5-year deal, $7 million a season. Yeah, he'll coach that contract out, and then he'll probably retire.
I would imagine.
I don't think he's going to want to end up going out like Boeheim did.
But what do you mean? Boeheim
need more years of coaching for John Calipari.
Dude, Boeheim went out ceremoniously.
Boeheim actually went out the most unceremoniously anyone has ever gone out. In that press conference, like he literally said, like, "Oh, I gave my retirement speech last week and nobody knew."
Losing at the buzzer to Wake, and then like
in the 12 o'clock game,
and then doing a press conference that like,
and then 3 hours later was the announcement.
Doing a press conference that had like a bunch of quotes that made no sense to anyone. He just sat there. He was like, it's up to the school.
Steven Swenson is committed to UC Santa Barbara. good get for Joe Pasternak.
Is he a shooter? They need shooters.
He's a great playmaker. I don't really know. I would assume he shoots.
I don't know, Jim. Well.
But yeah, they need shooters.
I'll look it up.
I mean, Stetson shot well last year. They were ridiculous offense. Swenson's not a big time shooter. He was a big time shooter last year, but not this year.
32%.
Big assist numbers
though. What we need to kind of discuss though is,
I mean, this kind of feels like I don't really whatever. Back to Cal.
No, that's what I said. What I was going to say is what we need to discuss is what we think of Calipari as a basketball coach now.
I think he's a good coach.
I don't know if I'd go that far.
Better than most coaches in college basketball.
Well, there's 362 of them.
There's a lot more than 362 coaches in college basketball.
In Division I college basketball. And I think there's even more.
Well, Division I, there's 363 head men's basketball. Actually, no, there's BYU's open, Florida A&M's open, Mount St. Mary's is open. And Chicago State's open. There's 359 head men's basketball coaches in Division I.
Doing routine math is becoming a tradition on this show.
Well, I mean, I had to make sure I had all the right teams that were out because there's three. By the way, how many sitting head coaches do you think you can name? We'll do this. We'll do this later.
The number's 175, maybe.
You can definitely do more than that now because of the amount of coaches. Like this off season, you'll know.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah, I'm probably.
You're probably close to 300.
I'm still going to struggle with like the Ohio Valley.
Isaac will be so disappointed in you.
Yeah. Anyway, Cal's good. Like, he's obviously a downgrade from Muss, but they'll get kids. Like they'll get guys.
They will,
and they'll be a good team.
They may take. What do they have? 6 kids in that class? They may take like 4 or 5 of them.
I don't know if I'm going to think of Arkansas any differently than I would have thought of Kentucky.
I mean, I had Kentucky pegged as a top 15 team next year, probably.
No. I'm saying with the kids that they were going to get.
I'm aware.
Yeah. And basically being a top 15 team, just looking at a roster of a lot of freshmen, it's a good coach.
Listen, they had 6 kids. They had 6 kids coming in next year, 4 of which I really like, and the one of them that I don't like probably isn't following.
The thing about Calipari, they're going to give him the NIL that he needs.
Oh yeah, no, they have like $5 million apparently.
And at that rate, Cal's worst teams at Kentucky were obviously the 2021 team that went 9-16 and they were still top 50 in Ken Pop. And then the 2013 team. I don't see a reason to think of this Arkansas team upcoming differently than I would have thought of Kentucky, and that's probably a top 25 team. I think they'll do a good job getting kids. They'll play fun basketball.
I mean, they have no players right now. It's going to be difficult to put together a roster.
You met with the team.
Oh boy, we have some BJ Mack.
I also met with the Arkansas team today.
Yes. We have some BJ Mack going on.
I spoke with the Arkansas team today. Every single one of their team members I spoke with. Now, they didn't seem very receptive, but I did speak with them. Hey, I'm actually speaking to the entire Arkansas team right now.
Same.
Every single word I've said since John Calipari got the job, I've said to the entire Arkansas team.
Colby King.
And you too, and everyone else.
Mm-hmm. The moral of the story is they need players.
Yes.
They will get players.
They will get players. They'll get gets.
A lot of gets coming in Fayetteville and Lexington.
Correct. 41 minutes and we've talked about 2 moves.
All right.
Hold on. All right.
Good.
Yes.
I've updated the spreadsheet to include the latest BJ Macking.
The Colby King BJ Macking.
Yes.
Which includes South Carolina.
Yeah. BJ Macking, by the way, is a portal player releasing a list that includes 5 or more schools. Elite BJ Macking is where you do 5 or more schools and then cut it again.
Yep. And it's obviously named for BJ Mack.
How many times did BJ Mack cut his list?
I don't know how many times he cut the list. It's just that Tipton tweeted about like every time he heard from a new school.
It's BJ Mack, man. Come on. He's good, but like
he was down to 10 schools, then he was down to 5 schools.
Okay.
And he entered the portal like very early.
Yeah.
Like, he didn't commit until like after the national championship.
I like remember texting you. Like
no, he didn't even cut it to 5 until after the national championship.
I remember texting you and saying like there's no way BJ Mack is still in the portal.
Yeah. There's been a bunch of names that I feel like have been in the portal forever this year, and just we haven't heard anything. Or I would say for guys this season that I feel like I feel like we should be hearing more about.
Mm-hmm.
Nico Gillette.
I saw like PDT posted something about him today.
And we should be. I feel like I haven't seen anything about him. Chad Venning. I haven't seen anything about him. I haven't seen anything about Malik Brown either. Really, where he's. But he also entered the portal pretty late.
I'm trying to think who have I not seen anything about? Oh, dude, Jamal Mashburn.
Yeah, there's been nothing.
Dude, Jamal Mashburn's still in the portal. You can still get Bo Callahan. That's what I feel like when I'm having this conversation.
Whenever we look at the portal list and we see a guy who's been there for a while,
you can still get Jamal Mashburn. All right. Do we want to go back to coaching?
Yeah,
stuff?
I think there's a bunch. There's probably a few more hires that we need to talk about.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Shirts at St. Louis is
home run.
Tremendous. It's awesome.
There was people in the Discord the other day, or either in the Discord or on Twitter, that was like saying like, oh yeah, if you brought like Indiana State's team over to SLU, like they wouldn't be like a contender in the A10.
They would have been the best.
They would have been the best team by far this year.
Actually, no. They would have been 6 Ken Pom spots behind Dayton this year.
Dude, Dayton finished 3rd in the league. That team was a corpse post.
I know, but they won a tournament game.
Thank you, Steve Alford.
But yeah, Indiana State. Sorry, SLU is probably going to bring in Avila. Maybe Swope, Larry or Kent. Probably
like
not
listen, they have a
Conwell.
chance. They have any one of those guys could commit there. It's just that some guys
Probably not Conwell.
have bigger markets, and like,
but they got a kid today, Max something.
Yeah, it was a commit though. It wasn't a transfer.
Yeah, Sunrise Christian.
That school is still around, and I don't know how.
But Slew's going to be good.
This is not your older brother's Sunrise Christian.
It's not your. I'm not even sure I'll go to older brother. It's not your Sunrise Christian.
Oh, what happened to the game I love?
Well, I wouldn't say Sunrise Christian was the game I loved.
No, prep basketball is not the game I love. Give me pure high school hoops where kids are going to school in their own neighborhoods.
Yes. Musselman to USC.
Good hire.
Definite upgrade. They'll get kids. They've always gotten kids, but they have a personality now.
Like listen, if I would be foolish to say anything other than they'll get 5 pretty good years out of Eric Musselman.
USC basketball, it felt like it's kind of just been there. Nobody cares about USC like in LA. I feel like when Muss is like coaching a team, he makes you care.
You know what
like,
I kind of just realized too?
Kind of like Pat Kelsey in that way.
Even if he doesn't make them care, if he gets to a couple like second weekends and like an elite 8 at USC, he might be at USC for as long as he freaking wants.
Now, he probably could have been at Arkansas for another 5 years if he wanted to, probably. I mean, they weren't going to run him out of town. A bunch of fans wanted to, but they weren't going to do it.
Nah, like he was fine. I mean, it's LA. Yeah. Like it's LA. Like he played.
Vance Wahlberg is an interesting hire at Fresno. That's a high school coach from the area, but he's got like NBA history, I think.
That is interesting.
Yeah, like he was an assistant. He was actually the head coach at Pepperdine for a few years, in like 15 years ago. But he was in the NBA for 5 or 6 years as an assistant on a few staffs, and he was a really good high school coach. So maybe it works, maybe it doesn't. I just want to say it's interesting.
Oh God, there's an NBA thread.
It's for draft stuff.
Oh, okay, that's fine.
I told him to make it.
Good.
Yeah, I think that's basically all. Dan Monson to Eastern Washington was shocking.
That was interesting.
It was shocking.
These are some good starting lineups in the Hoop Summit game.
All right, let's go on to transfers.
Yeah, let's.
Indiana gets a get today. Miles Rice.
Good player.
Really great player. Kind of tailed off shooting wise.
Yeah.
He's better than like a 29 or whatever. He shot 28% this year. He's better than that.
Yeah. Dude, I think he had like one stretch where he missed like 22 straight threes.
Yeah. I think we talked about it. I mentioned it because I mentioned it on the tournament pre-show where like he hadn't made a 3 since before the Arizona game.
Dude, come on, just lost the jump to Asa Newell. It's so over.
Anyway.
But yeah, like instant upgrade for Indiana. Like they need good point guard play first and foremost. Like Xavier Johnson's
he can really play make. He can facilitate on the pick and roll. He can isolate. He can get to the basket. He's got good length, positional size for a point guard.
Oh yeah.
He's like what, 6'4"?
Yeah, 6'3", 6'4".
I think he's listed at 6'3", but I mean he's also like he was a freshman last year, but it was like his second or third. It was like he missed like what, 2 full seasons, so he's older than your average sophomore.
Mm-hmm.
That's obviously
he had cancer. He had to undergo treatment.
Yeah, I mean he's gonna be 22 in December, and he's got 3 years left.
Yeah, like it's not like a typical sophomore.
No, not at all. He can play. They're also, I think they also had Ballo on campus today, or something like that, or at some point soon.
He got a crystal ball for them, and I think Ken and Carlisle did too.
Yeah, if I'm gonna be honest,
Carlisle's a weird fit.
Carlisle plus Rice is an interesting like non-shooting group, but like Rice, like neither of those guys are like just straight up non-shooters. Like they're not like Judah Minces, where they're not going to shoot threes, or give me a guard that shoots even less, even fewer threes.
Freshman year, Taman Lipsy.
Yeah, but he didn't shoot at all.
Guys that like tried to shoot, you mean?
No. Guys that like didn't shoot threes, but like shot inside the arc.
Oh,
like a Keenan Blackshear.
Sure.
Like they're not Keenan Blackshears. They're not great shooters either.
Mm-hmm.
But they need to pick up an elite shooting wing somewhere. Because if you're gonna run a season, if they do end up getting Ballo and Carlisle, like Crystal Balls have said, that's a starting lineup of Rice, Carlisle, Mbako, Renew, and Ballo.
Ew.
Like talented. That's a crazy talented five.
Like that team is way better than they were last year, but like,
and I tweeted out today that I'm high on Indiana right now. Like, I genuinely think they can be. Really
did they find the tweet?
Not really. It has like 12 likes, I think. 8 likes. Actually, no.
You have a lot of followers.
This one has 3 likes.
Oh God, you're such a fraud.
But hey, that tweet that I sent about Ivasic has 30.
Of course, dude. He's the most polarizing
player. I thought it would get like 3 likes.
Huh?
I thought it would get like 3 likes.
Dude, Ivasic is the most polarizing player the sport has.
Is that true?
He was for like 10 minutes.
He was the most exciting player for 10 minutes. I don't think he was polarizing during those 10 minutes. I think everyone agreed he was amazing in those 10 minutes.
That's true.
And then Goodman went to their next game and like took videos of everything he did in warm-ups.
Yes. Speaking of Jeff,
like 3 minutes.
Speaking of Jeff Goodman favorites, I'm watching AJ DeBansta right now. By the way,
good. But back to the Indiana.
No, I think if Indiana gets a couple shooters, they could be really interesting.
Like, and like a 6'6" shooter, not like a Conwell.
Yeah, not like a.
I wouldn't be mad if they got
not like a guy of Gabe Cups, right?
Yeah, like I would say find like first name. Let's see a name that comes to mind of the list of the guys in the portal. I mean, Zach Martini would have been a fit there.
6'6" shooter.
And Jimerson would have been a fit in that, but he went back. I mean, he's gone already, but Jacob Cruz, like that type of player. Yeah. I mean, just trying to think of a guy in the portal right now that's still available.
Dude, Flory Baduga is so small.
Yeah. Whatever. Doesn't matter.
Mm-hmm.
They'll find somebody.
Well, we hope they will.
And Baco is going to be really good next year.
Do you think?
Yeah. Like, I don't. He might have ended up the season averaging like. Yeah, he averaged 12 this year.
Like it felt like they were just like playing out of position a lot.
Yeah, and then it's not like he's going to be playing the 4 next year if they get Balo. Now, if they don't get now, that's the thing though, because Renew is kind of undersized for a 5. So
mm-hmm.
I'm not sure. I would say like the best move for Indiana roster wise would, but like if you go look at Mbako's stats, from like mid-January on, he was like averaging 15 and 4 and
Decent
shooting.
efficiency.
That's like 52 true shooting. From mid-February on, it was 16 on 54 true shooting. I mean, I think he's going to be pretty good next year. I think he also settled into the position that he was playing a lot more. Mm-hmm. I don't think he's going to average like 20 or average like 17, but like he'll be more efficient on probably like 14 or 15 a game, more efficient.
Yeah, I don't think he's a guy that like you'll want to put in a high usage role, but like as a secondary option scoring the ball could be really good for someone.
The one thing is like Rice and Carlisle are pretty high usage themselves. Like Carlisle, like if they do get Carlisle, obviously
use Mac as like this like off the ball slasher.
Yeah, I don't know about I obviously there's nothing set in stone with Carlisle at this point, but I really don't know how that would work next to Rice. Just especially with Renew being a higher usage 4-man, and if they get a higher usage 5-man. I feel like they're now starting to build a high. They had a team of guys that I thought would be low usage last year, and now they're kind of building a team of guys that are high usage. But at the end of the day, if they can still maybe not go with Carlisle or Balo and build a different. And I'm not saying it would be bad if they got Carlisle and Balo.
Honestly, like
we've now talked about Indiana for like 10 minutes.
I honestly don't like last thing. Like I honestly don't think like if you get Balo, he like should be high usage. I actually think it would be better for Balo overall if he was much lower usage than he was.
Don't disagree.
What the hell is going on with Javon Hadley?
Well, he's down to USC and Louisville.
I have heard from different people and messages in the Discord that he has been like he was going to like 2 different schools and neither one of them are in his current top 2.
I don't really think that this is of super high consequence at the moment. We should talk about
it's just been a fun recruitment.
We should talk about guys that have committed.
Yes, we should. Next up.
What do you want to talk about?
I want to talk about let's talk about the Kansas commits.
Kugel and
Zeke.
Yeah, Zeke Mayo. Just instantly huge upgrade from last year in terms of like getting
depth.
Yeah. I mean like getting players.
Kansas last year did not have gets. They had guys leaving the program.
No, they had a get. They had a get.
They had a singular get.
Well, and then they had the Johnny Furphy get.
Yeah, but like high school commits aren't really gets.
Is he a high schooler? Or
I mean, he came from like what, the Australia Academy? He was high school age.
An industry plant. That's what he was. Darn good industry plant.
Good player. Could be back.
But now they have 3 freshmen. All of them probably will play.
Yeah, I don't know who. Like, we don't know who Kansas is bringing back yet.
They could like, still bring back Dickinson.
Dickinson and Furphy could both come back. Obviously, Furphy can come back, but like he's a
like I don't know. Like Adams probably comes back.
I think he's like already coming back. I want to say that got announced already. Like, I thought they for sure expected Harris and Adams.
Yeah, Harris at the 1, with Mayo at the 2 and Kugel at the 3. It's and Kugel kind of being unlocked from it. Just didn't work out last year.
Zeke's not tall enough that you could like get away with playing him at the 3, right?
No.
Okay, because I do really like LeBaron Philon.
I mean, you could do it for stretches, but
but like not in like big.
Like Kugel has the athleticism to kind of to be really good in a lot of different places.
Mm-hmm. I think he's good for that defense.
Yeah, absolutely. I think he'll play pretty solid defense for them. And they'll bring back Marco, who will be better, much better this coming year.
Yeah, I think so too.
I think that that's going to be very key for them.
Jesus Christ, Cooper Flag.
But they're instantly adding a plethora of guys that can give them minutes. And that's really important.
Yeah, I mean, that's what they need.
I still think that they probably want to get like if Hunter doesn't come back, get a veteran center.
Yeah. I think we can confidently say that we're at the point where
I'm going to have Kansas.
Zach Clements probably isn't ever going to be playable.
I'm probably going to have Kansas in the top 5-10.
I'd say they're trending towards top 5.
Yeah, they're trending towards top 5. They're not there yet, but I mean, if you ask me like right now, based on who's on rosters right now, then yeah, they are. Mm-hmm. Like they also like there's also a lot of teams that don't have rosters.
Yes, that is very true. For example, there's a team in the Big 12. There are actually 3 teams in the Big 12 that only have a starting lineup right now and do not have a bench.
Well, Kansas was like that last year.
And then you got West Virginia, who has 6 players.
That now, let's see. Patrick McCaffrey committed to Butler today.
Mm-hmm.
That just doesn't feel right.
Dude. I mean, the younger McCaffrey's not going to Iowa either.
It just doesn't make sense. It just doesn't it makes sense. Like it's actually a solid fit, I think.
The big news out of that is Rothstein still going to be able to tweet the family business tweets?
I mean,
I feel like you got to scrap that one now.
Maybe, yeah. I mean, the McCaffreys weren't the only family in Iowa basketball.
That is true.
And they're also not the only family.
They weren't even the most talked about family in Iowa basketball.
They also weren't the only family in Iowa athletics.
Oh, you don't need to tell me twice.
And honestly, Caitlin Clark could have been 3 players on the floor at the same time, and that's Caitlin Clark 1, Caitlin Clark 2, and Caitlin Clark 3, and there you have 3. You have a Caitlin Clark family.
But like overall, you like the fit of Patrick at Butler?
Yeah, I mean, I think he can fit in a lot of places. Like, comes in.
I mean, hey, he's 6'8" and can shoot.
Yeah, he's 6'8", can shoot a little. Doesn't mind not playing big minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Has plenty of experience at the high major level. Can give you a little bit on the glass. Like, he's physically there as well.
Yeah, because like people forget he had I believe he had leukemia when he was coming into college, and like he's like kind of gradually been getting stronger throughout college.
Yeah. So there's a lot of places where he could have been a fit, especially considering, hey, Butler's a pretty clean slate right now in terms of their roster. They lost a lot of guys. And they have, okay, I mean, I guess maybe not as clean of a slate as I thought. But they still have a bunch of spots they're probably going to fill with like high level contributors. And you can fit a bunch of different ways around that.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see, who else got gets recently?
Who else got gets? Auburn, JP Pegues.
Yeah, there was a question someone asked was, who would you rather have, Rice or Pegues?
Rice.
I mean, I would say for one season, I would lean Pegues.
I think I'd rather have Rice regardless of what the question is.
But I think it's pretty close.
Like, that's nothing against JP Pegues. I think Rice is better.
That's fair.
Oh my god.
I think it's really close.
Dude, the Fox Sports just like put up a graphic for like VJ Edgecombe's stats for in the first quarter, and they're calling him by his real name. Do you know what his real name is?
I forget.
It's like Valdez.
Oh Jesus!
I've never heard anyone refer to him as that.
But I mean, Pegues is a guy that you can go to in big situations and just say, "All right, you got it."
Yeah, I mean, he was
like him, Boo Booey, and one other guy.
And what's surprising about that is like he's not actually like, okay, you know what? If there is a like decent shooter that makes Andy Katz's top 10 shooters list next year, like Jameer Young did, it's going to be JP Pegues.
I'm gonna we will at some point predict Andy Katz's top 10 shooters list.
Wait till we predict his small forwards list, and it's like 7 power forwards.
Aaron Bradshaw, the top 10 small forwards list.
Yeah, but like Pegues he shot like 36% from 3. He's a good shooter, not an elite one. He's a very complete guard.
Yeah, he guards well. And yeah, the other guy I was thinking of is him, Boo Booey, and Tyler Perry are like the clutchest players in the country.
Mm-hmm.
You trust those guys to get a bucket when you need it.
Yeah, no, you just give.
And I think Auburn definitely needs that. Like, they did not have a hierarchy last year. They didn't Did you see their last possession against Yale? Like, did you?
Yes.
Like, how many close games did they win last year? I don't think they won any.
None. Every game they won was a blowout.
Yeah. Their closest win was Mississippi State by 7 in the SEC tournament.
Was that game Was that game close, or did Miss State come back?
Auburn, I think, controlled the games. Like Auburn didn't trail in the second half.
Yeah,
but it wasn't. It never got past 9.
I was locked in on Purdue, Wisconsin. So
I was locked in on the MAC.
Of course.
What was going on? That was Saturday at 1. So actually, it was. I was not locked in on the MAC. I was locked in on, doing a lot of things. Because the MAC didn't start at that point yet. MAC was 3:30 that day.
Yeah.
But back to and I was probably watching Ivy League as well. Because they were on at that point. Back to Getz. Oh, Vermont. Dude, Vermont's going to be so good next year.
They got Jalen Young, right?
Yeah, they lose Aaron Deloney. They lose Veretto. They lose a bunch of guys.
But who do they get back? Does Long come back?
Bogues, Long, Hurley, Iofallier, Alamatu, Rockmore are all back. And I think Fiorillo's back. Yeah, Fiorillo's back too.
He is.
And they bring in Young. Just get a 5.
They got one more scholarship to play with.
They get a 5 and Fiorillo could start at the 5.
Top 100?
I mean, you still need a backup 5 in that case if Fiorillo starts, I would say, because you had Veretto. But top 100, this is a better team than last year and the year before. It's their best group since the Shungu Davis team.
Would agree with that. That team was good.
That team ruled. Let's see. Oh, Providence. Bensley Joseph and Krista Sandaco. Had you ever heard that name pronounced out loud?
No.
Were you
Not
surprised?
how I would have said it.
What?
Not how I would have said it.
Yeah, but I'm pretty sure that's how.
I actually don't know how I would have said it.
Krista Sandaco. That's at least how I'd heard by people that generally know this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But
good player though.
Yeah. I mean, there's also a reason why he wasn't a star.
Mm-hmm.
Even though his skill set is pretty crazy. But he'll do a lot of things for Providence. That's going to be a front court. It's tough to stop with him and Hopkins.
Yeah.
The backcourt, though, with Pierre.
Yeah, I'm still not the biggest fan of their guard group.
Pierre, Bensley Joseph, Rich Barron, and Corey Floyd.
Mm-hmm.
That's not that they're in BJ Freeman is a guy that's going to visit there. I think
they could have used sophomore year Garway Dual.
BJ Freeman would probably be a better pickup than sophomore year Garway Dual. I think.
I think Garway plays so hard. I love that kid.
I like him. I think
sometimes he plays a little too hard, but
I think he's got a lot of flaws though. That if they get BJ Freeman's a 20-point scorer.
Yeah, I know.
In Division I last year, and a good shooter, can play make 6'6". That instantly becomes their second best player.
Do we know if Hopkins is going to be like back for the season?
We'll see.
Because he got hurt in like January, right?
January 3rd.
Yeah, I was on a flight when he got hurt.
Yeah, where was I? Back to the point.
I was on the way back from watching Judah Mintz, who I apparently never watched this year.
Yeah. But like the idea of Jaden Pierre, Corey Floyd, Bensley Joseph, and Rich Barron like doesn't move me all that much.
No, it doesn't move me.
But either. Like they're tough. Like they'll play tough. Like
that's just the Providence culture.
Thank you.
Like it carried over.
Yeah, it's weird that Providence kept the culture and Georgetown just didn't have any of it.
Now, it was year one. We'll obviously.
It was year one, but like,
yeah, no, it was weird. Like
they had I think a lot of that comes down to the fact that English was able to retain the guys.
Yeah.
Like, how many times do you see a coach leave and then the top two players who easily could have gone and the top recruit both decide to stay? All three decide to stay.
Mm-hmm. The return.
Hashtag the return.
Hashtag the return.
Surprisingly normal conversation about Providence basketball.
Yeah.
DePaul.
Most non-average Providence conversation ever.
DePaul. Shall we talk about DePaul?
Yeah, dude, what a offseason they're having.
Yeah, they looks like they still need a point guard.
That they do. They're building like
Mackie Dien is on their roster.
They're building like an all Valley like secondary player team.
They're building a fun group.
Like, I like the Valley kids they've got in like certain roles. Like D'Amico and Benson can both guard. Rivera will score. Meyer is obviously a tremendous shooter.
Hold on.
It's like the expectations are still not going to be very high, but like what they've done both from like a recruiting and a coaching staff standpoint has been really impressive.
Yeah. They do need a point guard. Are they getting a visit from anyone this weekend? I don't know.
Did not know.
But they're probably not done. They still have a lot of spots to fill.
Mm-hmm.
Benson's good. Gunn impacts the game, I think.
Dude, Ant Wright loves that dude.
I mean, I think he impacts the game.
Mm-hmm.
Now, not a ton, but he impacts the game. I think they're going to be probably still among the worst teams, maybe the worst team in the league.
Yes, like if they're the worst team in the league again, I wouldn't be surprised. But it won't be 300th in Ken Palm bad.
DePaul won 0 league games. They went 0-20. They went 3-17 the year before that. Like, that's 3-37, with the 3 wins being a Georgetown team that went 2-18
and did not also go winless in the Big East.
Wait, no, yeah, that Georgetown team, they won at home against Villanova and they beat Xavier. Remember that?
I don't remember that.
The really good Xavier team too.
Huh.
Oh, they also beat Seton Hall in the tournament. I'm sure you remember that game.
I do remember. Yeah,
that was a strange game. But they were 304th in KenPom. The highest DePaul has been in KenPom in the last 15 years is 94.
That's crazy.
Will they be better than that next year?
Yes.
I can't say for certain.
They absolutely will not. Like I told you the other day, I think they will probably go up. Like if you divide their KenPom ranking by 2, I think they'll move up that much. But I still don't think they're close to really being a top 100 team.
Hey, let's see how many more kids they get.
This is true.
I like Justin Moore's fit at Loyola.
Why don't you talk about that? You've obviously watched a lot more Hofstra than I did.
That's not Hofstra.
Sorry, not Hofstra. Drexel. You watched a lot more of that league than I did.
I mean, I didn't watch a ton of it.
But it's Flow Hoops. Never mind.
Yeah. I watched as much as I could. Justin Moore's just good point guard. Can hit shots from the outside. I know he was 31% this year, but 38% in league play. He's got really good control of the game.
Mm-hmm.
And he's got good size as well. And he's only going to be a junior. He's only going to be a junior.
He's got big shoes to fill. Braden Norris was very good for them.
He was also there for 75 years.
I saw Braden Norris win a Missouri Valley tournament championship. He then played 2 more years of basketball in the A-10.
Braden Norris's first college game. He played 11. Let's do this game.
Okay.
I'm gonna find something from his first season. Okay, I got one. 3 games into Braden Norris' college career, he played 8 minutes off the bench for Oakland. 6 days after my 14th birthday. In a 74-61 loss to UNLV, who got 12 minutes off the bench from a freshman Jonathan Chamwa-Chachwa. 14 minutes off the bench from a freshman Bryce Hamilton. And 2 minutes off the bench from a freshman Trey Woodbury.
That guy played at UNLV?
Yes.
I had no idea.
I didn't know that either.
No idea. I also didn't know that JTT played at UNLV.
I don't think I knew that either.
Boogie Fland, floater.
Oh my God, this is something, isn't it?
That's one heck of a box score.
He played against. Let's see some other names. Oh my God, he played against Hartford in that first year as well.
I mean, Hartford was in Division I 2 years ago.
He played against pre-Anthony Edwards, Georgia.
Okay, that's kind of nuts. Who did pre-Anthony Edwards,
God.
Georgia have?
The KenPom game MVP of that game, Nick Claxton.
That's crazy.
Okay. This is a good one. On December 21st, 2018, Braden Norris scores 18 points, plays all 40 minutes in a 99-69 loss. In that game.
To who?
I'm about to say. In that game, there were 9 points scored by Matt McQuaid And coming off the bench was a group of freshmen: Aaron Henry, Marcus Bingham, Gabe Brown, and our friend Foster Lawyer.
Which means Rocket Watts was starting.
Nope, Rocket Watts did not play in that game.
He didn't play?
No.
Oh, he hurt his hand like for 2 weeks that year. Why I know that? I don't know. Actually, I do know. I was obsessed with Rocket Watts.
This is the year before Rocket Watts.
It is?
Yes.
Oh.
The starting guards were Langford and Winston. Okay, we need to move off of this fast.
We have more gets to discuss.
Yes, more gets that Tony Patelis is gatekeeping.
You want to talk about the Iowa State gets?
Who did Iowa State get?
Heisey.
Oh yeah, Heisey and
Deshaun Jackson, and one more big. Oh, and Brandon Chatfield from Seattle. Yeah, Brandon Chatfield. They basically got their two big replacements and then a wing in Heisey.
Yeah. It's fine.
To kind of fill that like Trey King-esque role.
Chatfield can protect the rim, score in the paint. Otts can really coach.
Mm-hmm.
Wait, was that UNLV team we just talked about coached by Otts?
Probably.
I think it was.
Probably.
Well, let me make sure of that. No! Marvin Menzies.
Jesus.
It's pre-Otts. That's wild. We've been on here for an hour and a half. We might have to speed run some of this now.
Okay.
The Zeke Montgomery Marfo.
Love it. Love it.
Anything else on that?
Like, I think Bradley's probably going to be the favorite in the league next year. We'll see what else happens, but you got the top two teams replacing their coach and replacing a huge part of their roster. You have teams like Missouri State, Southern Illinois replacing huge parts of their roster. Bradley's going to return Hannah, Dean, Christian Davis, Linky, and the two freshmen, Atlason and Birch. And then they bring back Montgomery, who was there two years ago. Like, just a player that fits very well in their system. Like, I was a little unhappy when he left last year. Brian Wardle spoke very highly of him, and like Bradley fans seem pretty ecstatic to get him back.
Yeah, I like that for them as well. Let's see, what else is there to go through? Jonathan Beagle to Richmond, I found pretty fascinating.
You texted me about that one.
I'm not sure it works. I mean, I thought Beagle was a pretty good America East big. I'm not sure how it translates.
You were in attendance when he had 21 points, 12 rebounds, and 6 assists against Long Island.
Yeah, no, he can really pass. So I think Richmond will like that.
Jesus, Sebastian Thomas had 32 in this game.
Yeah, that was a wild game. Yeah, Sebastian Thomas was tremendous this year. He is going to make a lot of money somewhere next season. He's in the portal right now. Ty Strickland had like 7 steals, I think. LIU was up 68-61 with like 7 minutes.
The game by 17.
Yeah. They went on. Albany went on a 25-1 run to close it out.
Not Sharp.
And now LIU brings in Gerard Gillian to be their associate head coach, which is a tremendous heist.
Talk about a get.
That's a get.
Any thoughts on Milos Uzan to Houston?
It'll work because it's Houston. Like,
he can pass.
Yeah, like it doesn't. I don't think of it the same way I thought of Shed, obviously, or Sasser. I don't. But like, they made Kyler Edwards really, really work at Houston.
Dude, please, he was an All-American the second Sasser got hurt.
Yeah, that's like
Boogie Fland for 3.
Like, and like Edwards was himself kind of like a solid Big 12 player before he went to Houston, kind of same way Uzan was. Different roles, but I think they value a guard skill set that can kind of be a 1 or a 2. It'll be fine.
Yeah, because like Cryer can play the 1 a little bit.
They'll also probably get another guy.
Yeah, I don't know how many spots they have left because like they do have 2 freshmen coming in.
They're probably going to lose somebody.
Also Mercy can
get Arsenault back from injury. That's huge.
And JoJo.
Yeah, but like he played most of the year.
Right. Mercy can also handle it a little bit.
Yeah, I also don't think that like the game is going to be run as much through a point guard for them next year, just in general, because I think like year 3 Sharp, year 3 Arsenault are going to be so good.
Do you think Roberts or Francis could become like a legit high usage back to the basket big man?
They're 6'7" and 6'8". Like,
I know that's why I'm asking the question.
Like, I don't think it matters. Like, they have like the only time they had that was like Josh Carlton.
Yes, who's what, 6'11"?
Yeah. Like even the Final Four team had 6'8", 6'7" centers. And they had like 6 of them. They had Fabian White, Justin Gorham.
They did have 6 centers.
They had Fabian White, Justin Gorham, Bryson Gresham, Reggie Chaney. They also had Juwan Roberts on that roster.
Is that the most weirdly constructed roster to ever make a Final Four?
Cam Tyson was on that team.
Dude, they had like 6 centers and like Sasser, Giroux, and Quentin Grimes.
Hey, Shed was there too, and Mark.
Those guys didn't really play though, right?
Sasser was 74% of the minutes.
No, I know Sasser did. The other guys didn't.
Mark was 49.
Okay.
Shed was not much.
They did have 6 centers.
Did some wild things. But that doesn't matter. Like, I trust Kelvin Sampson so much to just make things work. Player development is going to be great. Arsenault, and I think Sharp is going to be. I mean, Arsenault and Sharp are going to be so good next year, as I just said. Tugler's going to be awesome. They're probably trending preseason number 1.
Mm-hmm.
Just like, even if like Uzan's not a terrific point guard, but like he's good enough to with how much depth that team will have in the front court and on the wings, with a scorer like Cryer, they're probably trending preseason number 1 for me.
I'd say they're definitely trending preseason number 1 for like the media.
Are they not for you?
TBD.
Who would you say is?
I kind of like what Kansas is putting together.
Okay, I get it.
We'll see though.
But I feel like there's more decisions there that we haven't heard yet from Kansas than that we haven't heard.
As of this very moment, Houston would be preseason number 1 for me.
Who else would you consider? I mean, obviously, like depending on the gets UConn gets.
UConn, Kansas, maybe Duke, maybe UNC.
I'm not putting Duke at preseason number 1 again.
I probably won't, but they're in consideration.
Like, I'm not going to end up doing it. It's just not going to happen.
Who else? Chicago State.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I think we've reached the part of the show where we have to move on. Frankie Collins at TCU is interesting.
Just one word for it. I don't know, Jim.
I don't know what to think of TCU. Just as a program right now, like, have they reached their ceiling as a program?
I think they might have. It's a tough place to win.
Dixon's done a great job there.
Mm-hmm.
But their last few seasons, you want to hear the records?
Sure.
21-13, 8-10. 22-13, 9-9. 21-13, 9-9.
Yeah, like is a middle of the pack Big 12 team what they absolutely can be.
9 seed, 6 seed, 9 seed. Yeah.
And they haven't been bad seasons. It's just that might be all they can be.
I think that's their ceiling as a program. I would be a little surprised to see those glass ceilings removed and them to kind of ascend into a top tier team. That's a program that, like, their best year under Dixon, 6 seed.
Mm-hmm.
And Dixon's a good coach.
Twice, right?
Yeah, twice. 18 and 23. Moving on. I think I like what Chris Mack is doing at Charleston right now. Berzovic. And if Darren Boyd is healthy, he tore his ACL at the end of the season. So if he's healthy, that's a star. If he's not, whatever. They brought in George Kursich. I don't know how to say his name. And Lazar Djokovic.
They did have quite the day.
Yeah, they got 3 guests today.
Gats.
And I think all of them are good gets too.
Chris Mack's a good coach.
Yeah, they'll win big there with Chris Mack in the CAA. I think we spoke about Eddie Lampkin just being a strange fit at Syracuse, but then again, I kind of think everything is a strange fit at Syracuse at the moment.
Why is that, Sam?
I don't really know, like, what the plan is.
Yeah.
I hope to figure out what the plan is. I know that
I
Dakota LeFew and Jair Davis are right now on visits.
Yeah.
That only confuses me more, by the way.
Like, why do they need those guys?
I think the assumption is that LeFew would be the point guard. Like, that's the assumption that everyone in the chat and in the Syracuse Discord and like on the Syracuse boards and Syracuse fan base, like, he's not a point. Like, love Dakota. He's not a point guard. Jair Davis, it's really good, but I thought like he probably could have been best served staying at Delaware and another year with the offense built around him, and it's his hometown school. But hey, he can be a solid high major player for sure. Just maybe the fact that he was a 6'7" 5 man, and he's not like a big time floor spacer. Like, I did think though before last season, like he could do. So I think he can do ball handling. Like he's like not a point center because he's not like a great passer. He's not like a tremendous passer.
Mm-hmm.
But he's certainly like he's a small ball 5 that can handle. And I wouldn't even call him a small ball 5 because when you think small ball 5s, you think of like guys that can shoot, space the floor, and like switch a lot. Davis can switch, but like he's not like a freak.
Yeah, small ball 5s are typically like perimeter oriented players.
Like, yeah, Davis is an interesting type of like small ball 5 because he's high post oriented.
Mm-hmm.
It's strange, but he's really good. Like, he's really good. I'm just not entirely sure what the vision with the program is right now. If it's just get talented kids and figure it out, it's fine.
So that's Indiana.
Yeah. Back to the get board.
By the way, did I miss that? Did I just see that Greg Gordon committed to UAB?
Oh, he was on a visit, so that would make sense.
Well, Yaxel Lendenborg posted and was like new teammates.
Huge get for UAB.
UAB's got some dudes. UAB has if Gordon goes to UAB, that's
the most athletic team in that league
by far
already.
Like, and Memphis hasn't put together a roster yet.
But like that's like with Christian Coleman, Yaxel Lendenberg, and they're even losing Gaines.
By the way, wait, are they losing Gaines?
He's in the draft, I think.
He's listed on the sheet.
I think he's in the draft.
Hold on, Eric Gaines.
Yeah, no, he's going to Portsmouth. He's in the draft.
You can come back though, right?
He's in the draft. Like, he's leaving.
Okay. Because he's still listed on the scholarship chart.
But they get Vasquez back too.
Mm-hmm.
But did Gordon officially commit?
No, like he hasn't. But
yeah, let me see. Let me check my Instagram because I follow him on there. Nothing on Instagram.
No, it's like Yaxel Lendenborg posted, said like new teammate.
Yeah, let's see. On Twitter?
I believe so.
So is that him committing or because whatever?
You see the post, right?
Yeah, I see it. We'll get back to that off camera, off air.
Yeah.
But that would be a freaky athletic team, and they already are.
Mm-hmm.
You want to choose a get to talk about?
Let's talk about the kids Illinois got.
Neither of them are needle movers.
No, but they aren't like the best kids Illinois is taking.
Yeah, they have Boswell on a visit, I think.
Mm-hmm. And like, there's reports about stuff with AJ Storr.
And I think there's crystal balls for Boswell at this point.
There is.
Yeah, I think 247.
People do forget that like Boswell was supposed to be a freshman this year.
Yeah, he's going to be. And again, Illinois didn't exactly have like a true point guard last year.
No, I mean they had a lot of different guys handled the ball for them.
And Boswell can shoot. He's shown the ability. He's really good. Like at the end of the day, like if he didn't play at all in 22-23 and like his first college season was 9.6, 3.6, 2.3 and 27.
People would be perfectly fine with that.
People would be calling him an All-American next year.
Yeah. He'd be getting the Tyrese.
I mean, obviously, the fact that he was bad towards the end of the season instead of good, the reverse Tyrese Proctor arc. But he'd be getting the Proctor treatment. He'll if he goes to Illinois, I would like that for them to kind of build a group around. But Trey White, not a needle mover. Jake Davis, not a needle mover.
Trey White could be a guy for them that like comes in with the bench unit and like.
He'll probably start.
You think?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if I like that.
It'll be like a fifth starter.
I'm more like him off the bench than like he's your guy that scores off the bench for you.
He can be that. Like we'll see. We'll see. Now it's my turn to choose a get to quickly talk about.
Yes.
Let's talk about Rutgers gets.
Tyson Acuff
and Zach Martini.
You talk about Martini.
Martini can really shoot that ball. Like he's 6'7" guys that shoot that well. Like he shot 37% from three, but like he was taking tough shots because like people guarded him a lot. His game is just shooting the three, and he's really good at it. He not a great defender, but he's got good size at 6'7", 235, and you put him out there and plays 20 minutes a game.
It's a good player to surround Ace and Dylan with.
And I'm a little confused at going at Acuff. Maybe I would have thought that they get maybe a point guard who's not like a high usage guy to go with Dylan and Ace.
Mm-hmm.
But I can't say like it's a bad decision to get that. I mean, to be fair, he was high usage because he had to be. Like Eastern Michigan's
a terrible program.
Eastern Michigan has had some pretty tough seasons so far under Stan Heath.
Hey, they had Amani Bates.
Yeah, and Noah Farrakhan. They had him too. Just they had Jalen Billingsley as well. Remember him? Georgetown.
Yeah.
But that team is going to be Dylan Harper and Ace Bailey's team. They badly need any 5-man. Like right now, their starting 5-man is either Lathan Somerville or Emmanuel Ogbol. But again, back to the guards, like they'll get J. Mike and Jeremiah Williams back. So like, I was a little surprised that again they went after a point guard like Acuff that is like a higher usage type. I would have thought they would have been fine with Williams, but that's their decision, and I don't think it's a terrible one. Your turn.
Okay. We are going to talk about Maryland getting Jacoby Gillespie, which is
and Rodney Rice.
It's been a while now.
And Rodney Rice. Yeah, reinventing that team. Gillespie, Rice, Harris Smith, Queen, and Reese as the first 5 with a bunch of spots of still Gillespie, Rice, Deshaun Harris Smith, Derek Queen, Julian Reese with a few spots still available. What do you think of that?
I think Gillespie himself is a very good kind of two-way point guard, meaning that he can pass, he can score, he can really shoot. The thing about Maryland is, like, I don't think they can play Reese and Queen together. And, like, I still don't think they have enough shooting.
I'm not sure how it's going to work. But I think they'll make the tournament. Like if you said gun to my head right now, do they make the tournament? I'd say yes.
Let's revisit that when they have a final roster.
Yeah, because I would have said the same thing last year.
Because God forbid they go out and take another back to the basket big.
I don't think they're going to do that.
I don't know, Jim.
I don't think they're going to do that. Shall we discuss? All right, let's go to a different game now. Just a bunch of kids in the portal that we like. Because we've now been on here almost 2 hours.
Yeah, it's been a show.
Yeah. Layden Blocker, we both love.
That's a tough nose, get to the rim, two-way guard.
All right, now give me a guy that you like.
Rylan Griffin.
All right. Why do you
was
like
high
him?
on him coming into the year. I think he is just going to go somewhere and be a knockdown shooter that can occasionally put it on the floor.
Yep. Tucker Anderson from Central Arkansas is the best shooter you've never heard of.
It's an interesting one. Did not expect it.
Freshman season this past year, 6'9", shot the crap out of the ball on a putrid team, but 37% on 182 attempts as a 6'9" freshman. That's gonna play.
Yeah, that will most definitely play. I'll go with one of my Valley guys here. Atten Wright might I think he's visiting West Virginia.
Yeah, he's visiting West Virginia.
If he goes there, he's small. He's a small wing, but can really, really shoot and can be an impact player at a high major somewhere.
All right. If you're going to go with a Valley guy,
you want to go with a MAC guy?
I'm going to go with a MAC guy that I like in the portal right now. Dre Bullock, who is really, really athletic, can shoot, good size for a wing as well. Came on really strong last month of the season after not really finding his role. And then he was maybe Niagara's best player for the last month of the season. He visited Hofstra this weekend.
This next one might surprise you a little bit that I'm the one bringing him up. Jaquan Carlos.
Okay.
I've been a big Jaquan Carlos fan. I obviously have not watched.
They played at Duke.
Hofstra. It's not. No, I watched them a little last year when they had Strata and that really, really good team. But
they were pretty good.
Carlos is a guy that'll get after you on the defensive end, and he's one of the best passers in the country. Like he should absolutely be a high major starting point guard somewhere.
Yeah, he'll either be like a pretty solid high major starting point guard or the best backup point guard in the country.
Yeah.
Give me Ahmad Robinson from New Hampshire. Not going to be a high major player. Just doesn't have the size to be a high major player. He's 5'10", 172. But I didn't watch many players quicker than him getting to the basket this year.
All right. Everyone knows about the Indiana State guys, so I'll skip over them. You put Jalen Griffith on here?
Did I?
From Jacksonville? I didn't.
I don't know. I just put names on there, man.
He's a
sometimes
names.
Oh, that's why I've heard of him, because you mentioned him last year.
He's from Simeon. He was really under recruited.
Yeah, you mentioned him last year to me. That's why I know who he is.
I'm going to go with
Make it quick.
Let's talk Pharrell Payne, I think, is a pretty significant loss for Minnesota. He's a really physical center, not super big, like height-wise, but just will body you, can back you down to the post, can wall you up defensively.
Yeah, I'm going to give you a name now. Duke Miles. And it's pretty
I was
easy.
leaving that one for you.
It's pretty easy to talk about how good Duke Miles is, but I'm going to do it because he was one of four players in the country, 6'3" and under, 200 2-point attempts, 55% from two, 100 3-point attempts, 35% from three, and a 20% assist rate. Name the other three.
Repeat that stat one more time.
200 2-point attempts at over 55%, 100 threes at over 35, and 20% assist rate, all under 6'3". Three other guys. I'll give you a hint. They're all Americans.
So it's
one of them might not have made the All-America team, but like they're All-America caliber, and I think at least two of them made All-America teams.
Under 6'3", right?
Under 6'3" and under.
Okay. Jamal Shedd's not one of them, right?
It's I'll give you the answer.
Yeah.
Mark Sears, Tyler Kolek, and Devin Carter. And then Duke Miles.
It's a good group.
All right, give me a get.
Kerry Booth.
Yeah.
We've talked about him before on the show. I'm very disappointed he's not at Notre Dame still. I thought he would have been one of the pieces that kind of helped move the needle for that program, but it's a 6'9", 6'10", 4-man that does a really good job playing off 2 feet. Just a very Not a super great athlete, but like just a very high IQ, solid basketball player overall.
Yeah. How about give me Aduthiero.
Guy we both like.
Not a lot of guys that have that type of length, that athleticism can be as good defensively as he can be. Quick, all right, let's kind of speed run this. Give me.
You said a line about this guy earlier this season after a big win that this guy had no business playing at this program still. Do you know who I'm talking about?
I'm just trying to think. Give me a hint.
It was after like one of the biggest high major upsets of the season.
High major against high major?
Yes.
Okay. Was it in conference play?
Yes.
All right, I'm gonna figure this out.
I believe the line was, "Why is he still playing at blank?"
So he did multiple years at this program?
Yes. I believe he was a sophomore this year.
All right. So it's not Georgia Tech beating North Carolina. It's Jordan Pope.
Yep.
Jordan Pope.
Yep. Jordan Pope was a guy that was a very high usage player this year, still managed to be nationally ranked in true shooting percentage, great passer, defensively, does a good job staying out of foul trouble, and then he's a pretty dang good shooter on top of all of that.
Yeah. I'll give you, let's do two more guys each. I'm going to go with here to Wesley Yates, a guy we both liked last year coming out of high school. Really, really good guard, good size. Can play in a lot of different roles, a lot of different ways. Not the greatest at any certain thing, but pretty good at everything.
I will go to a guy that has had a really good year now at two different programs and is now, after today, committed to his third, and that's Chris Youngblood of South Florida, now out at Alabama.
The fact that he was named co-AAC Player of the Year is ridiculous.
David Jones. I mean, this is a really good fit. This is a really good fit at Alabama. 41% 3-point shooter. Doesn't turn it over. Great at getting to the line. It's a good,
no business sharing an award with David Jones.
Yes. Respect.
Great player.
Great player.
And then one more get to talk about for me, or one more player to talk about from me. I'm going to go with, well, it's not post-Christmas break, so I can't say Jalen Blake. One more guy to talk about. How about I say oh my god, I need to think of the name. I'm just looking through this list and trying to find the name that I want to say. Oh, Jason Edwards.
Okay, I figured you would. I know you like him a lot.
So. Yeah, I liked him a lot. Last year, coming out of Dodge City, still like him a lot. Shoots the crap out of the ball. Can be a high usage at like a lower level high major, or can be a shooter at a really good high major.
Let's go with Brendan Housen to finish this up. One of the best shooters in the country. I think we'll stay at a high major. We'll definitely stay at a high major level.
Oh no, he's probably like, I know UConn is like
Your guys are interested in him. Would be a good addition.
Yeah,
especially
would be
in that
closer to the Calcaterra than the Spencer, but kind of like halfway.
July 20th, mark your calendar. USA versus South Sudan.
All right. Take us home.
Show. If you came to hear about Tyler Self and his employment, you came to the right place. If you came to hear about Brooklyn Vic's recruitment, you came to the right place.
Having that in there?
Do you want to?
I don't think we need it.
All right, we're out. Cut.
It's better with 3 things.
If you came to hear about DePaul and Georgetown both going 0-20 in the Big East, you came to the right place. And if you came to hear
they both did it, just not in the same year.
And if you came to hear about Caleb Grill and what he's up to, you came to the right place. This season 5, episode 1. It's a new season of brackets, bubbles, and bid stealers. We'll see you next time.